Kendrick Perkins and Richard Jefferson just got exposed for saying these dumb, ridiculous quotes on national television. These two have been continuously hating and digging at the Celtics players and their path to the championship in multiple ESPN sessions. I can't believe that these two, especially Kendrick Perkins, is still hating on the Celtics and their path to the championship and who they're playing against right now. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't believe that someone that would play for that would be a former Celtic will continue to hate and just continue to hate day after day after day. Man, this is another episode of Celtics Digest. I'm your host, Godfrey Sympre. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We appreciate your support so much. Truly, truly, truly. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Kendrick Perkins is back again hating. This man can never stop talking about the Celtics. I don't understand it. He's one of those people that every time he's on ESPN, he has something insane to say about the Celtics for clicks. At the end of the day, we have to remember this is for clicks. But it gets me really, really peeved because I can't believe the other day he went on ESPN and said, no one in the NBA is scared right now of the Boston Celtics. This can't be further from the truth at all. Most of these teams have made moves to stop the Boston Celtics. I don't understand why he's saying this. I don't understand why he continues to delve in that region saying that these teams are not scared of the Celtics even though they're making moves to stop us. It doesn't make sense, and it shows that Kendrick Perkins is not a good reporter at all. There's been so many times where we've seen Kendrick Perkins say these things that don't make sense, don't add up, horrible quotes, and this is another one. And I'm going to show you guys why I particularly think so. And it's basically, these teams got better in the offseason so they could compete with the Celtics. Now, he lists off a couple of teams that I personally think only got better so they could face off against the Celtics in the postseason and they could match up better. Particularly the New York Knicks, who got Mikal Bridges, and last night they did pick up Karl-Anthony Towns in a trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Why? I personally think the reason why they did that is to compete with the Celtics. Now they have someone that can guard Kristaps on the perimeter. You know, they still had that small ball lineup, but that small ball lineup wouldn't work. And they think getting Karl-Anthony Towns could possibly work against the Celtics, which I personally think that is not going to work because Karl-Anthony Towns is not a great defender. And the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla, is going to expose that time and time again. Now, they added Mikal Bridges as well this offseason, and that was a good move for them, I personally think. But we all know that this move was made to stop the Celtics. I can't say that more times enough. Now, he goes on to say the 76ers, they went out and got Paul George. I think Paul George also was a move to stop the Celtics because time and time again, Jayson Tatum has gone out and exposed the 76ers. Joel Embiid has gotten exposed for his play time and time again in the playoffs, and so they went and got out another third star instead of keeping someone like Tobias Harris when he went to Detroit. But I still think this move to get Paul George was to be able to stop the Celtics and have another ball dominant, someone that can score off the dribble with him and Tyrese Maxey that can play ball, that are actually good, instead of Tobias Harris, who's a good basketball player, but he's not one of those third star options that you would want on your team for a playoff contending team. Now, he says at the end, to be honest with you, a lot of people were looking at the path the Celtics went through to win the championship and said they actually had an easy path as far as the competition, and the teams that they played were not healthy. Now, this is an interesting point, and I love when people make this point. At the end of the day, you play who is in front of you. Just because the Celtics had an easy time against these opponents, it doesn't mean that when you actually watch the games and you look at them, that they were just easy games. Now, the series against the Indiana Pacers is the one that I look at the most. People will look at it saying that's a 4-0 sweep, but they didn't watch the games and understand that these games were actually hard to win. If it wasn't for JB's heroics, they would have lost the game. If it wasn't for Jrue Holiday's amazing defense, we would have lost the game. People don't look at those moments and think to themselves, oh, maybe the Celtics' path to the championship wasn't as easy as they thought. Just because we had a sweep 4-2 against the Mavs, 4-1 against the Mavs, people don't understand that, like, it's actually harder than it looked. I can't believe that Kendrick Perkins still is here on out saying this time and time again, just hating on the Celtics. I don't really understand why he thinks this is like a great point. He probably thought he was cooking here or something, but I definitely don't think he was cooking whatsoever. I still think the Celtics are the team to be in the NBA, not only just the East, but the NBA as a whole. And when you win a championship, you're allowed to say that. I don't understand why Kendrick Perkins thinks no one is scared of the Celtics when teams are currently making moves to beat the Celtics. And in the end of his quote, he literally contradicts what he's trying to say in his main point. If he said, oh, no one is scared of the Celtics, everyone got better, but without naming why, maybe he would have had something to say there, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have anything to say. Now, this brings up my next point, basically, and just saying that, oh my gosh, Richard Jefferson had the most insane quote this past day talking about Jayson Tatum and Donovan Mitchell. Now, I'm going to give a little bit backstory. They were just talking, a lot of Celtics discussions have been going on since Media Day was a couple days ago. And the question was posed whether or not Donovan Mitchell could play in the same role as Jayson Tatum. And now, this man, Richard Jefferson, said that it is very possible that it could happen. He basically says, if you take Jayson Tatum off the Celtics team and put Donovan Mitchell, they still win. And he still averages 25 points per game. Now, maybe Donovan Mitchell still averages 25 points per game. I don't see that. Donovan Mitchell is a great scorer on the offensive side of the ball. But on defense, this would be a whole different scenario. Donovan Mitchell has been getting hunted by other teams in the playoffs, in other series, time and time again. People underrate Jayson Tatum's defensive ability. He is a ball stopper. He's able to play defense against the great players in the league. And Donovan Mitchell simply can't do that. So therefore, maybe Donovan Mitchell would still get the points, because we know a lot of these scorers like Donovan Mitchell, they're going to get their points. But I don't think that this team would still win without Jayson Tatum. That team chemistry and everything around that team is so good and so important that I just do not think that Donovan Mitchell, would have a chance on this Celtics squad. And I just think that's the fact and the only thing I can say. Now, if we look at Donovan Mitchell's stats, they look pretty good, but I still think he would have gotten hunted on defense. He's not one of those players that he can hit clutch shots, but on the defensive end, he's not going to play that well of defense for you. Now, last year, he averaged 26 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 6.1 assists, a steal, 2 turnovers a game, shot under 40% from 3. And I just think Jayson Tatum's all-around game, plus his height, what he adds to the ball, he's a great wing player, wing defender, wing scorer. And we didn't even see that in the playoffs as well, his scoring ability. In a couple of games, he was not shooting the best, but he was still affecting the game in more ways than one. That's the thing that Donovan Mitchell doesn't really show on a day-to-day basis, game-to-game basis. Now, if we look at Jayson Tatum's stats here, now we see 26.9 points, 8.1 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, shoots 37% for 3, and almost 50% from the field goal range. Now, I think if you looked at advanced stats, the advanced metrics, you would see how much of a great player Jayson Tatum is. These box score stats don't really show you the full story. Jayson Tatum is one of the most underrated stars ever. I've actually never seen someone that gets hated just as much as Jayson Tatum does on a day-to-day basis. Now, Jayson Tatum, I think he changes the game completely all around. That's why I think someone like Richard Jefferson doesn't really understand that, because he had a lackluster career. Like, the way Jayson Tatum affects the game in multiple ways than one, we've seen it a couple times, but we don't see it as often. Jayson Tatum is someone that's a triple-double threat every single night. I just think that this is another comment that people have been making to just, throw off the Celtics chemistry, try to throw off, what they have going on right now, when these quotes, in fact, are just not true whatsoever. They don't make any sense, and they're easily contradictable. Because if you put Jayson Tatum on that Cavs team now goes farther than what it did. That's just the facts. As personally what I think, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Without further ado, that's another one. Thank you guys.